Deepak, it's common knowledge in medicine that the mind has a very strong interaction with the immune system, with our sense of well-being, and over time this has become even more part of core Western medicine. How do you reflect on it? It's something that you've worked on very intensely with many different people, but also in the scientific community, in terms of how the mind can actually heal and help the body.
First of all, Robert, in the deeper domains of consciousness, mind and body are the same thing. Mind is the subjective experience of consciousness, and the body is the objective experience of consciousness. Okay? And I experience them both in consciousness. Where do I experience my mind? As thoughts, feelings, emotions? In my consciousness. Where do I experience my body? As this solid object, which it isn't, by the way, in consciousness. Okay, so there are different modes of experiencing consciousness. Yes, in the Western systems of thought, scientific systems of thought, there's been a separation between the mind and the body, the classic Cartesian dualism. However, if you talk to scientists these days, they don't believe in the classic Cartesian dualism. They believe in what they say is non-dualism. But of course, they have different interpretations of that dualism. So the materialists say there's only matter. And the other people say there's only mind. Yeah. Well, I'm saying there's neither. Okay, they're experiencing.
You're not saying there's both. You're saying there's neither.
Yeah, there's neither. It's consciousness. Okay. Now, if you look at the word healing, it's a very interesting word etymologically. Healing, health, wholeness. So in my view, it's how you define healing. Healing is the return of the memory of wholeness. It's a shift in identity, ultimately, from a skin-encapsulated ego identity to the enlightened identity, ultimately. It's a state of primordial being. In that state of primordial being, there's self-repair, self-organization, self-evolution, all the attributes of consciousness. And so, yes, a movement in the direction of wholeness will repair the body. Okay, may not repair it completely, but you know, when I say healing, in fact, as a physician, you don't use the word healing. I'm a physician. I trained in internal medicine, endocrinology, neuroscience. Not neuroscience in the classical sense, but neuroendocrinology. So if I use the word healing, you're a charlatan. Okay, doctors don't heal. They practice, and they keep practicing, or they treat, but they never heal. But it's true now, we've known for 30 years that when people are stressed, they have high cortisol levels, they have high adrenaline, and their platelets get sticky because these are little platelets in their fragmented consciousness. They're huddling together in their fright, and they give you a heart attack because they clog. So you look at it from a consciousness perspective, healing is the most fundamental experience. Unless you're born with a congenital defect or something, you're already healed. You're whole. You have not started the mistake of the intellect that separates your mind from the body. It's a state of homeostasis. Homeostasis is a state of dynamic non-change in the midst of change. And it's a fundamental state. So yes, it's not that the mind heals the body. When you get out of the way of both the mind and the body, they both heal themselves.
But it has to go through the immune system and white cells and the endocrine system. Which
Those
is your
are
original
the
field.
metabolic pathways that we map out to symbolically represent a return to wholeness.
Okay, but those are causative in the process, right? I mean, if you didn't have that, you wouldn't have the result.
On one level, yes. On another level, metaphor. On one level, yes, you need the self-repair mechanisms, the immunomodulation, the homeostasis to kick in.
So how does that happen? How does that happen?
if you want to look at it on a very simple level, when your mind is agitated, your body is agitated, because they're both the same thing. Okay, your mental activity is turbulent, your body gets turbulent. Your mental activity is inflamed, hostility, anger, guilt, shame, your body gets inflamed. Okay, that's on a one level. Your mental activity is one of peace, then the body gets quietened because the mind is quietened. Okay, and then the self-repair mechanisms come in. Love, not love as a mere emotion, but love as the fundamental truth that there's no separation. That fundamental experience of love, which people now call unconditional love, and they give all kinds of names to it, but love is not a mere sentiment or an emotion. It's the ultimate truth at the heart of creation, that there are no boundaries. When you experience that, then again self-repair mechanisms kick in. So yes, we can physiologically map this, and we're going to map this. We just finished and awarded a prize at our foundation to someone who showed that within 4 days of meditation, telomerase, which is an enzyme that controls basically a biological clock because it controls the length of telomeres, went up 40% in 4 days. And the scientists couldn't believe it. These are scientists from UCSD, UCSF, and Harvard collaborating. They had to repeat the experiment many, many times to convince themselves that these results were true. And now, one of the scientists doing the entire genome in the same blood samples, 4 days after meditation, we've saved the blood samples to see a genetic activity. Because genes are not fixed structures. Genes are activities in consciousness. A gene is not a noun, it's a verb. It's a happening in consciousness.
So as we look to the future, how important is the mind to the body? Is this something that is absolutely central to medical practices?
I think we have to redefine what healing means. We have to redefine what health means. We have to redefine, because you can be physically healed and still have the fear of death and live miserably, right? In fear, agitation. Is that healing? I don't think so. You can be physically having a terminal illness and come to peace with your mortality because there's an aspect of existence that is immortal. And as the Sufis say, I'm not just a drop in the ocean, I'm also the ocean in the drop. Okay, so I can shift to that identity. You have to redefine what healing is, and we have to take the best technology and understanding of science to somehow bring them together to, you see, science is never going to go away, nor is the yearning for meaning, which is a very spiritual thing. Okay, which is a religious experience, not defined as religious, then neither going to go away forever. And so it might as well bring them together to destroy the world or bring them together to heal the world. And I think that's possible. We will have technologies that will be biosensors, digital technologies, where you can take your smartphone, put it to your heart, have your EKG read by a computer, and the treatment delivered remotely. I think that'll happen. I think we'll be able to seed galaxies with the human genome using remote control technology. We'll email the information, remote control technology, use stardust to reproduce ourselves in other galactic systems. But that'll happen. But it'll only happen if we bring consciousness and technology together.